I'm Siobhan Fallon Hogan. Thanks for having me, TED Talk. And I'm an actress. And what is an actress? What is the job description? Well, it's pretending you're someone else for a living, which is actually what insane people do too. And the problem is there's no job security, nothing. And I always tell young people, just hang in because it's a ride. And the thing is that when there's no job security, you go even more insane. I remember I was doing a movie over in Denmark, and Lauren Bacall was in the cast, Ben Gazzara, Nicole Kidman. It was called Dogville. And Lauren and I became fast friends. Well, not too fast. We took a plane over together, and I had a newborn, a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old, and she had her Louis Vuitton bags, and she was like, and I thought, maybe I'll introduce myself. Just as I was about to introduce myself, we opened up the overhead baggage compartment, and Cheez-Its rained down. And I thought, maybe I'll wait to introduce myself. So I introduced myself at the table read, and we became fast friends. And at the end of the movie, we were walking up the ramp, up to the set, and she was 82 years old. And she said, Siobhan, do you think you and I will ever work again? And I thought, I don't know. But I thought, she's 82, and she's asking if this is a problem. So whenever I talk to young people, I say, honestly, what got me through is faith, family, and friends. And that's why I was able to be on stage and make films, and I truly believe that. I come from a very Irish Catholic family in upstate New York, and my parents were brutally honest and great people, and they taught us great faith. Whenever anything would go wrong, they would say, just say your prayers. So I thought that was the way to go. My mother also told me, Siobhan, you've got it. You can do whatever you want. So when I went to New York City, all I ever wanted to do was be a musical theater actress. There was only one problem. I couldn't really sing that well. But my mother told me, that doesn't matter, Siobhan. You can sell a song better than those people that can sing songs. I was like, I can? Yes, and if you pray too, you're all set. So I was like, okay. So I had no skills. Matter of fact, I love David Burke's restaurant. I tried to be a waitress, but I would get so nervous in front of people, and people in New York City are kind of rough. I have part of my speech written on my hand in case you can see it. Anyway, so I'd waitress, I'd be like, no one looks familiar. Anyway, so I couldn't do that. So I worked in a law firm answering phones, which I could do. I don't want to brag. But, so my boss, who I'm still great friends with today, faith, family, friends, would let me out for auditions. And I wanted to be, as I said, a Broadway musical actress. So I went to 42nd Street audition. And at the time, the trend was no more big belting. It was kind of like, everybody was like, think of me only, whenever you party. So I was like, no, I can't do that. So I would just pretend I was Ethel Merman. So I go, I want to listen to the lullaby of Broadway. And I got to the dance audition. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. My mother was right. You don't have to be able to sing, you just sell a song. I'm going to pray, and it'll work. So I go to the audition, I go to the tap part of it, and I don't tap. But I'm like, okay, we'll just use the same philosophy. I'll just pretend that I can tap. So, and I was like, there was a big, huge mirror. And I was like, and I was just copying everybody else, and they were like real dancers. It was ridiculous. The only thing I knew how to do, let me pull my pants, was a time step, because my friend taught me how to do it the night before. So time steps like this. So when I got to that part, I would be look really confident and like not even smile, just kind of like, be like I knew it, so I was like. And my ponytail was twirling, and I was like, I am really good. My mother was totally right. And there was like 100 people, and the casting director goes, stop! And he said, girl in the red hair, can you please come over here? And I was like, finally, someone's getting what I got. So I go, and in my mind I hear, da 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 da. Da, 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 like Chariots of Fire. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to tell my family my father's like, just get married and have children, move back, start a dinner theater. This is ridiculous. You can do theater on the side. They're all weirdos and egomaniacs. You don't want to be an actor. So I was like, huh. So I was like, wait till I tell him. He might lights up on Broadway. And the casting director says, what's your name? And I said, Siobhan Fallon. And he said, you can go home. And I was like, are you kidding me? So I had $5, and I was like, you know what? I'm taking a cab. I'm not taking the subway. I got home and I called my parents, and I called my mother. But my father was listening on the other end of the line. Remember those days? And he was basically thinking, please hurry up, this is expensive. And I was crying, and my mother goes, Siobhan, you're better than all those 99 other people. They're just jealous. I'm like, I don't know about that. So my friend Jim Fife was on Broadway in a Neil Simon play, and I said, Jim, I think I'm going to quit and go home. My father said I should do dinner theater and get married, but he also told me my personality was a little too much to get married. That's the whole story. But anyway, so my friend said, Siobhan, the praying, good, attitude, good, but you've got to read this book, Creative Visualization by Shakti Gawain. And that was what people do now, where you picture yourself. And you would put yourself in a pink bubble. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. So I was like, see myself on Broadway, see myself in TV and movies, doing really well, getting married. Nothing happened. I'd go to auditions. No, you're too weird looking. You'll work in your 40s. Your voice is too deep. You're too weird. So, but how in God's name am I going to, this pink bubble has me in movies and stage. What's going to happen here? So I said, one night when I went to bed, please God help me. This is really not going well. I have an idea. I'll write my own show. So I did. And I went to TKTS in Broadway. I'm sure you all know it, where you buy the half-price ticket lines. And I had cardboard, and it said this, Batgirl, and it said $9.99 off-Broadway show. Because I rented out an off-Broadway theater, West Side Arts, it's still there. But I couldn't afford the theater, so I rented the lobby. I had it on Sunday nights and Monday nights. But people didn't know it. My husband, who is a New Yorker, goes, it's the old bait and switch. The old bait and switch. You got people to come. Anyway, so they came. He's always like, why do you make me sound like a moron? Imitate me, but anyway. So I did the show, and it went well. And people would say, oh, I like that theme. There was no theme. I just did all the characters that I wanted to play that no one would cast me in. So I brought it to LA, and Saturday Night Live came. And long story short, they liked it. So I went and I auditioned, and I got on. And then things started to go well. Well, oh, yes, these are several people that I worked with. But I thought to myself, there's Lauren, my pal. Anyway, so I thought to myself, okay, things are going, I'm happy until I couldn't fit that piece of the puzzle of finding a husband and getting married because, well, as I told you, my father said I was a little too much. So I put my pink bubble out, and I was like, I see myself with babies. I see a stroller. I see a husband. Nothing. So my friend, who ended up being one of the producers on the movie I wrote, Rush, Patrick Clifton, who's from Matawan, New Jersey, introduced me to my husband. And my father said, do you like this guy, Siobhan? I said, I always loved everybody. I go, I love him. All right, you're getting old. He took me on a ride once, I was 30, and he goes, Siobhan, there's a real vocation for single people in the Bible. I go, hey, listen, shut up, don't count me out. Do not count me out. So I meet my husband, and my father says, if you really like him, I would suggest hiding your real personality for 3 weeks. So I did. I pretended I was shy. We all got on dates. I remember he was telling stories, and I was like, I really would like to say something, but apparently you're supposed to let other people talk. And I was like, my head looked really good right now on my shoulder like this, and my hand. Wonder if he liked me. And anyway, we only went out for 4 months. We got married 4 months later. So I then had, there's my father and mother. So they're the ones who said, pray, pray, pray. And they love Peter. Okay, so then I had a built-in audience, my children. This was perfect, because as an actress, you always lie and pretend you're working. I used to have a friend in New York City, when we say goodbye to each other, I go, all right, I'll see you on set. Be like, didn't even have a job. So anyway, but you're always faking people, or people always say, they even say, because I'm on the other side of the mountain now. So they'll always go, are you still acting? You're like, are you freaking kidding me? Working my rear end off. So anyway, so it's perfect with kids, because you have a built-in audience, and you're just singing and dancing and tap dancing and driving them out of their mind. Or fighting at the school, little things like that. Protesting dirty book. We won't get, that's a whole other story. Anyway, so this is perfect, right? Well, until my youngest, Sinead, in the front, is a junior in high school. Because I worked about maybe 3 months out of the year at average, but I would lie and say 6 or 9. But anyway, so she's a junior in high school, and I'm thinking, my God, what am I going to do when she's out of the house? I'm going to be stuck alone with my own thoughts, and that's not good. I'm not domestic, can't cook. All my clothes turn different colors when I wash them. What am I going to do? I thought, well, I should do another one-woman show, because through the years, I would always do one-woman shows. I actually did a couple here. So I thought, I'd really like to write a film. And people were like, you can't write a film. You've never even written. But just like the old days when they'd say, you can't do that. You're from upstate New York. You have no connections. You're never going to be an actress. I thought, you know what? Inside my head, say my prayers, just give it a shot. So I wrote the film. I sent it over to a producer in Denmark. I'd worked over there 3 times. And he said, I like this. And I was like, you do? All right. So I sent it to my good friend Robert Patrick, who I'm sure you all know from The Terminator. He's T-1000, played my husband in the movie. I sent it to Jake Weary, and one by one, Perry Gilpin from Frasier. All these old friends of mine were like, Siobhan, I like the movie, and I'm willing to come and do it. I'm like, are you willing to work for $2.50 a week in Rumson, New Jersey? And they, one by one, said yes. So then I thought, well, this is a problem, because now I have no place for them to live. So I learned how to go on Facebook, because I'm technically a disaster. My kids are always like, do not go on social media. You sound like a weirdo. So I said, hey, I wrote a movie, and the circus is coming to town. Does anybody want to rent rooms out? People were so insanely generous, so giving, that they would one by one say, yes, you can. They can. One person can live at my house. 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. Before you knew it, we had an entire crew of people. That's my kids up there. This is Lars von Trier here from Denmark, and we had ourselves an entire cast and crew in Rumson, New Jersey, filming a movie. And in August, Rushed came out, the movie that I wrote, and it was insane, because I realized that my parents, who were the rock of my life, and God, who I love, I followed what they said, and it worked. And I tell young actors, you do not give up. If you have a dream, you stick with it. And people are always going to tell you no. But inside your head, you have to have a little voice going, screw you. I'll show you. You will rue the day. I mean, I've been told I was too ugly. Once someone said, and I thought it was so funny, I told it at a party, and my sisters were like, do not tell that. That's terrible. One time a reviewer said, Siobhan Fallon's face looked like the before bin at a plastic surgeon's office. I was like, oh, that's not very nice. But people love to tell you no, and inside your head you say yes. And if you have a backup team of prayer and faith in God and faith in your family and friends, you can do whatever you want. And I just thank you for listening to me. I hope you'll check out Rushed and tune in for the next one. And any young actor who feels down and out, we all did, even Lauren Bacall, but you will achieve your goal and be on stage and in film if you want to. God bless.